Alright, Kerrigan, we're going to talk about a couple of things from your lesson here the other day. I'm going to touch base on right now about our load. Something about our load is that it helps us get in sync with the pitcher for one thing, and then for another thing, it puts us in position to make a good first positive movement. And that first positive movement that we're making is a movement we're making toward the pitcher. Okay, so right now we're going to look on the left-hand side here when you're hitting off the tee, and the right-hand side is when you had your clicker. But for these purposes, we're going to look at the left-hand side. I want you guys to pay attention to where our hands go when we're in our stance to load. Right there, we're getting a little too high of an arc. Our hands are moving up, which is also causing our body to move up, and with that happening, that causes an extreme angle of the bat. So we look over here on the other side. As we can tell, we're in our stance, and our load is just a small movement right there, but enough to get us where we need to be. Now on that right side, that's going to help us a lot better because of the angle of our bat. As we can tell right now, that's going to help us a lot, or basically to make it more efficient for us to be able to get to the strike zone. As we can tell, that's an extreme difference in angles. I'm going to take a look right here, straight down. About right there. See, that's nearly a 15-degree angle difference right there. So we can tell it's going to take us a little while longer to get to the ball. And remember, we want to always maintain a great bat angle throughout the whole entire pitch. And I'm going to follow up here, and we're about to do an overlay of your swings, and that way I can reiterate what we're talking about a little more. Now, before I overlay these, I'm first going to show you guys the tee work right now, and this is going to be a great example of why we want to lead with that elbow. Just like we talked about Kerrigan, the elbow always leads the way on that front elbow. Just like when we were doing our frisbee drill, want that elbow leading the way. You never want the hands to get outside the elbow, and the reason being is because it creates a little bit of spinning action, which we're going to see right here. Okay, we're going to go into our load, negative motion, and then from there we're going to hit our toe touch. So when our toe hits the ground, okay, see, we're still having a pretty big angle. It's getting a little bit behind our head. And of course our heel plant, which our heel plant is basically when our heel hits the ground, this elbow starts working its way in to allow the bat to come. Now pay especially attention to these next few frames. We're going to slow it down a little bit to what that lead arm's doing. We're losing the angle right now where we're basically straightening out, and that's going to cause that bat head to want to lay down a little too quickly. So right now the bat head's nearly flattened out, which we don't want it to flatten out too early for purposes of staying as efficient as possible to the zone. So that way we can be able, the longer we can keep that bat back, the longer we have to wait on the pitches and make better choices. Plus we're going to get a little bit more force on the ball as well. So we're going to see right here how when we're releasing our hands right now, it's going to create a spinning action, and you'll see us top the ball right here. Here comes the spin right there, and we top the ball and we don't have any force going forward as a result, which is what causes our bat to actually hit the ball and then come upwards, because we're losing all that force right there. Okay, so we want to make sure that we don't turn it into a little spin motion. We want to get our weight transferred efficiently forward to where we can get some force in that ball, and we'll definitely work on the lower half here a little bit more in the coming sessions as well. Something I think we could add on, if we take notice, is on our stride, we're just simply bringing the foot up and putting it back down. Now that's not bad if we can get the weight transferring forward, but as of right now we're not really having too much transfer of weight right there, so therefore we're not getting as much force that we possibly could. So I'll demonstrate right now real quick before we move on to the next thing. There's where we're starting from. There's our heel plant right there, and usually at heel plant you want to see a difference, a big difference from this point to the next point, because that means we're getting our force forward. And as we can tell, even though we get the swinging, our body really isn't moving that forward as much. We're already just turning on that axis right there. Not really that much of a difference. Therefore, we're not getting the force that we properly need. And I'll give a couple other examples here in a few. But for now, we're going to move on to the next part, which we'll take a look at the swings with the clicker.